you remember how earlier when we were creating our keyword list, I took the time to organize this list? Well, this is exactly the part where this is the reason why I organized this list as I did, and you're going to see why we did that right now. So let's move from the ad group level that we're on to the campaign level, and then we're going to click add groups. So now we're seeing all the ad groups that exist within this campaign. So now I'm just going to go to the wedding bartender ad group, and I'm going to copy and paste. And I'm going to grab my next keyword on the list, which is private bartender. I'm just going to grab the word private. I'm going to go to find and replace. And this is going to add a pop-up. We're going to find the text wedding, and we're going to replace it with private. Now, we're not going to match case in this case. No pun intended. Depending on what you're changing things out, you might want to do that. And we're going to preserve the capitalization so that when we have wedding capitalized, it's going to also capitalize private. And we're on replace rather than any other method. We're going to hit replace. So now what this did is it changed wedding to private on this ad group. And all we had to do on this ad group level was just change over the name of the ad group. Now, the reason why we did the replace here rather than just copy and paste wedding for private is that it's going to retain that replace text for every other level that we're going to go into. So now we're going to click into our private bartender ad group, and we're going to go to the left-hand side, and we're going to go down to our keywords. Now we're going to Control A to select all. We're going to go to find and replace, and we're just going to press enter. And now we've replaced all of our keywords. We can just go through here and we can see that everything is exactly how we want it to be. Now we're going to change this to our ads. We can go in here. We can go to replace wedding with private, and we are good to go. We can see now private bartender for hire. We can just go move up and down very quickly to see what else changes, and the only thing that changes is the headline 2. Nothing else is different. We didn't have wedding in our description line, so we didn't change that out. Now, if we did have wedding in our description line, we'd have to be careful because it would change the description, and then we would just want to change it back when applicable. Path 1 changed to private, and path 2 is bartender. Now, if this was short enough where we could put bartender on path 1 without exceeding 15 characters, then I would do that. But because we can't do that without exceeding 15 characters, it'll stay as it is. And we just created our second our second ad group. Now we're going to just go back up to the campaign, ad groups, and we're going to do the same thing again with our banquet. Now this is just one of the things that speeds it up again. And now we're going to get to an even cooler thing that we could do once we finish all the bartender variations. So now we're looking for banquet. I'm going to copy and paste wedding, and I generally always copy and paste the same SKAG. Now, it's not always the first one that I create. This is generally because when we're changing out the words, we want to make sure that we're not changing out anything that's in, let's say, the description. And we know that wedding isn't in the description, where maybe private is, but maybe it mentions that it's a private bartender within the description. I don't think it does, but just in case so that we don't have to go back and edit our ads after one by one. So this is a safe replace. Now we're going to go in here and we're going to find, because I copy and paste that, I'm going to need to grab that again. We're going to replace wedding, and what this also does is it allows us to keep the find text as the same, and we don't need to replace that at all. So we're going to find wedding, and we're going to replace it with banquet. Replace. Replace text. What did I do wrong here? Oh well, we'll fix it if it screws it up after again. So now we're going to go into just the banquet. Keywords. Grab all. And replace. Okay, so why is it doing that? Oh, okay, that's why, because wedding has a space after I accidentally added that, so it was replacing the space after wedding. Let's not replace the space after wedding. There we go. So now again, we have all of our banquet bartender ones. Now if we went from a shorter term to a longer one, so if it went from a 2-word search to a 3-word search, we'd have to go into the modified broad match and just add the plus symbol after the third term. We're going to go into our ads, same thing, replace, and we're just going to do a quick quality check. Yep, that's fine. We won't be able to change the path at all. So now we're moving on to the next one. So we're done with banquet. And we're going to move on to event. So I'm just going to copy and paste wedding, select it, replace text. Oops, forgot again. We're going to place wedding with event, and we replaced it. Go into the ad group, go into the keywords, replace, go into the ads, place, and just double check that nothing with the ad was changed where it shouldn't have been, which is fine. Now what we can do here is we can take event and bartender and put them on one path. So I'm just going to do that. And I have both ads selected, so this is going to make the change on both ads at the same time. So you can see here. So I just put event and bartender on the same path. Now I'm going to go back into all the ad groups for the campaign. Now we're doing party. So now I'm just going to go to wedding, copy and paste, replace with party. Go through the keywords one more time. Place. Go through the ads. Place. Just double check. Once again, with this one, we'll be able to put both terms on the same line. So there we go. Everything looks good. Now we're going to go back to the campaign and ad groups. So that was one of the ways that we combined or organized the keyword list to make it easier to change that around rather than kind of searching through the entire list, finding out which terms we could easily change around like that. Now, next what we notice here is we have all the same first terms, and the only thing that's different here is bartender is going to change with mixologist. So now what we're able to do is we're able to copy and paste all the ad groups. And now with the ad group selected, we're going to go and we're going to find bartender. And we're going to replace bartender with mixologist. Great. Now we're going to go into our keywords. Now we have, and we didn't go into the ad group. We're still on the campaign level, and we went to the keywords, so now we see all the keywords. And we're going to find all the ones that have mixologist in them, which as we go down, starting here, all the way down, these are the ad groups that have mixologist in it. So we're going to grab all of these. Then we're going to go find and replace bartender with mixologist. And all it did was replace the keyword. Now we have banquet mixologist, phrase exact broad match, all the way down, and all of the bartender ones have been untouched. Now we're going to do the same thing with the ads. Going to go to our ads. We're going to look at the ads by ad group. We're going to find all the mixologist ones, starting here, all the way down. Replace. Bam. Now what we notice is that some of these have the issue because the path is now too long. And what we also notice is that also replaced the headline 2, which we don't want to do. So now I'm going to grab every other ad, because that all has the same headline, because if I grab this one, then headline 2 goes to vary, so I'm going to unselect that. And I'm just going to change mixologist back to bartender. So now we changed it for all those. Now I just want to check my ad description as well. Great, bartender wasn't mentioned in that. Now I'm going to grab all the other ones. Call now to book, that's fine. Now we're going to go through our paths. So the only ones we need to fix are these ones right here, and all we need to do is just going to grab the same ads from the same ad group, just cut that, put it on the second line, cut that, put that on the second line. So now we just created 5 more single keyword ad groups, all designated for mixologist. Now we're going to go back into the campaign level and look at our ad groups. I'm just going to go into the text file, and we just created all of these. Now what we're able to do is just look for any variations. So for example, bartender is the last word here. So anything that has the bartender as the last word, we can easily change around. I'm just going to go with wedding bartender again. I'm going to go in here, and I need to change wedding with mobile. I'm going to go in here, keywords, place that. On the ads, place that. Should be completely fine on the ads. We won't be able to, actually we'll be able to just barely, with the exact amount of characters, put that all on one path. Oh no, we were actually +1. Forgot the dash would add a character. All right, so we have to keep that on 2 paths for now. Everything else here is fine. So now back to the campaign, back to the ad groups. And I'm going to stick with just the 2-word keywords for now, and then move on to the 3-word ones. So let's look here, bartender as the first word or mixologist as the first word. Do we have any like those? We do not. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate one of these. And we're going to make more changes to this one because it doesn't have just one single variation that we need to change. So we're going to change this to bartender service. I'm just going to copy that, change the name of the ad group, go into that ad group, go into the keywords. I'm going to change all the keywords to be the same. Then I'm going to go into the modified broad match, or the broad match, and make it a modified broad match. Now our keywords are done. Go into the text ad. Then we have bartender service for hire. Not the perfect headline one, but to keep it consistent, I'll just keep it like that for now. People aren't going to be overly critical of our grammar on our ad. It really isn't going to hurt the click-through rate of the ad that much, if at all. So we're just going to keep it as it is for now for simplicity's sake. That's fine. And now bartender service is our keyword, so I'm just going to change path 1 to bartender and path 2 to service. And now we are good to go on that one. Now I'm going to come back up here to our ad groups. And now because this was a variation for bartender company, we're now able to easily make all of our variation changes for anything that has bartender as the first word. So now it's going to be faster for other ones. So now we're going to grab bartender service, because that's going to be the variation we're creating. And we're going to find service. And we're going to change it out with company. We're going to go in here, keywords, change it out, and for our ads. Now I just need to make sure that we didn't have service in somewhere like our description. So we're just going to check that. That's fine. Don't say a description, changing based on what we expect it to be, and bartender company as the path. Can't get that on one single path, so it is fine as it is. So now we're going to go back up to the campaign, back up to the ad groups. At this point, we're just repeating the same process over and over again until we are done with all of our keywords. Bartender catering, so that's our next one. This is the one where I'm not really sure if it's going to be a good fit. Actually, let me not change that out. Let me just change out bartender service, because that was the one we were doing beforehand. We're changing company to catering. So bartender catering. Change that. And we know because we've changed out the service beforehand that this is a safe term to just change out and our ad will be fine. Now we're not going to be able to get that onto one path. So we're just going to move up to our next one. So that's done there. So we have no other one that's just bartender at the start. That's fine, but we do have is the same terms here, service and company, we didn't have companies beforehand, but service and company for bartender versus bartending. So bartender service, bartender company, change that out, replace bartender with bartending. And now we're going to go into our keywords. This can be a little bit more difficult to find, so I'm just going to organize this, and we're going to find what are we looking for? Bartending service and bartending company. What we have here is bartending company and bartending service. There are our 6 keywords. Let me just go here and here. And we're just going to do our replace bartender with bartending for our keywords, and we are good to go. Now we just need to go down to our ads once again. Organized by our ad groups, we're going to find our 4 ads, bartending company and bartending service. Bartender for bartending. Now we're going to notice is that because our second headline, again, we need to go back and change that to bartender. Same thing with our description, I believe. No, description's fine. So for our headlines, let me just check because it feels that we're missing something here. Oh, I guess we're good. Okay, so that's good in that regard. So now I have both of these. And now that we have bartending as a first word for one of our ad groups, we're able to make the bartending companies one very easily. Yeah. Let me just grab the service one because we've changed out service multiple times without it being an issue. So we know that we can come in here, change service to companies. I'm going to come in here, go to our keywords, replace. Then we're going to go to our ads, place, and we'll just double check that everything is good here. Bartending companies for hire. So our headline 1, again, isn't perfect for this bartending companies for hire. It makes it seem like we're going to offer up multiple bartending companies for them to choose. But because this is the exact search term they would have searched for, bartending companies, and that's what we've consistently had in our headline 1. It works well enough for our intents and purposes, and we can change it later on if we do feel as though it's causing an issue for our ad performance. So bartending companies, we're good with that. Now we're going to come up here, go to our ad groups once again, mobile bartending service, and mobile bar service. Okay, so it's going to be a 3-word one as well. Mixologist service. Do we have a service as our second word? We do. Let's go with the... How many do we have? Bartender and... Okay. So we're going to grab bartender service. Actually, let me do bartending service. That'll be a little bit easier to do it with. We're going to change bartending to mixologist because we changed out bartender, we mess with our headlines, but we know that we don't have bartending in the headline 2. So it's just going to be easier. Replace with mixologist. Mixologist service. Keywords. Replace. Ads. Replace. And I'll just double check. Yep, everything's good here. Go up to our ad groups. And now I'm going to grab mobile bartending, which was one of our terms, or maybe just mobile bartender. Which one did we have? Mobile bartender. So I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to change this like that. I'm just going to change the capitalization on it, just because I prefer my adverbs to be capitalized. So keywords, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to replace bartender with bartending. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to append after, and I'm going to append space service. So now I just appended service to each of these. Whoops. No, bartending is fine. Just not coming up as a correct word for some reason. Maybe bartending isn't an actual word. Anyways, so we have that here. We just need to go into the broad match and just make sure that we're also adding that. So now we're going to move on to our ads here. So for the ads, we need to just grab both of these. Mobile. Bartending service. Now I'm just going to get rid of the for hire here because it doesn't fit. So you have mobile bartending service, which is our keyword here, as our headline 1, as we've done each time. And now for here, mobile bartending is what we're going to have as our path, because service won't fit in, but it's going to be close enough. For longer keywords, we're going to have to kind of do the best we can with kind of getting them as many places as we need to within our ad copy. So that's good how it is. Now we're able to go back up to our campaign and go back to our ad groups. So now mobile bar service. So I'm going to grab one that has service as the end. So mixologist. I'm going to grab mixologist. And what is this? Mobile bar. So mobile bar service. Keywords. So I was able to change out this one term with 2 words. And then I just have to go into the broad match and add this as a modified broad match. I'm going to go down to the text ads and replace it again. And now we see, so in this case, what it did, it replaced the actual final URL. So that's something I'm going to need to double check because we could have accidentally replaced that a couple times now. But I'm just going to leave that messed up to show you how you can easily change it if your URL does have a keyword in it, because it will change during the find and replace, but we don't need to worry about that for now. So right now, mobile bar service for hire, that's good. Headline 2 is good. For our path, we're just going to add a space in between mobile and bar. And that is good how it is. Again, we'll worry about the URL in a second here. Ad groups, I want to go to text, mobile bar service. Now we just have our last 2 keywords, which should be easy to get to. So for bartenders, we have bartender but not bartenders. So let me just go to bartender service. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to change service to for hire, and I'll just manually change bartender to plural. So I'm going to find service. I'm going to change it to for hire. Right, that's what we're going for, correct? So now we have bartenders for hire. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to grab my keywords. I'm just going to grab these, bartenders for hire. Bartenders for hire, and make this a modified broad match by adding the plus symbol right there. And then I'm finally going to go into my ads, just do the same thing. Change this to bartenders for hire, and so that's redundant with the extra for hire there. So it's just going to be bartenders for hire in Mass, because this is just going to be in Massachusetts. So again, I'm just trying to fill out the headline. We do have now 3 different variations of headline 1, but they're super minor. One just being the keyword without the for hire in it, most of having for hire in there, and then just with the in Mass. Again, headline 2 is the biggest difference we made, and that's what we're focusing on testing. Changed up headline 1 in instances where we had to. If you wanted to be as scientific as possible, then you wouldn't have the for hire in any of the headline ones because it doesn't fit in all of them, and you wouldn't add the in Mass to the one with the actual keyword with for hire in it. But for what we're doing, this is good enough. So bartenders for hire. Okay, we didn't mess that up. Now we're going to grab this. We're going to make this bartenders. And we're just going to add for hire right there. There we go. Everything else is looking good. Back to the campaign. Back to the ad groups. And now we're just going to change bartender with mixologist. Replace text. Bartenders. Mixologist. I'm just going to double check that I actually spelled that correctly by just pasting from the text doc. Was spelled right. So mixologist for hire. Final time, keywords. Replace. We're good to go there. And final time on the ads. Replace. Just double check. Everything is looking good there. So now I'm going to go back into the campaign. I'm going to fix the issue with the final URL for the ads. So I'm just going to grab the actual homepage URL again. And this is an actual landing page, not just the homepage of a general website. The landing page is just on the homepage. So we're going to select all and just change the final URL because they're all going to the same page here for this campaign, and bam, now they are all correct. So now we have completely finished building out all of our different SKAGs based on all of the keywords that we researched. Now, if you were building this out for your actual company, in this case I'm doing it for a PPL site, so I'm not going to be doing this, but you may also want to have different campaigns for like your brand, in which case your brand name and variations of your brand name, as well as competitor names if you wanted to bid on your competitors. Not going to go into that right now. Now, for the sake of another thing that you can do with the Google Ads editor, before we actually push this live and make the final changes to the actual ad account, is that for our structure, it made sense to target per location. So in this case, we have just Boston. Now, because we're targeting per location and all of our keywords and all of our ad copy can stay the same because we didn't have anything that was very specific to Boston within our copy, what we can do is just copy and paste this entire campaign. And I'm going to change this from Boston to Worcester. So now we're in Worcester, Mass. And for this campaign, I'm just going to go in here and change the location to Worcester, Mass city, and OK. So now we have 2 campaigns built out, one that just targets Boston and one that just targets Worcester. The one that we just created for Worcester is just a complete copy and paste of all of our keywords and all of our ads and all of our ad groups from the Boston campaign over to Worcester. And that's one of the advantages if you're trying to figure out how you want to structure your campaigns. If you are doing it by location, assuming that nothing else has to change, you can just set it up for one location, copy and paste it. If we want to set this up for a bunch of other locations, which I will likely be doing once this video is done, just because it's already a really long video and it's literally just exactly what I just showed you there. Copy, paste, change out the location, we're good to go. But it does make it even faster for building out additional campaigns.